Hello and welcome back again. We're going to be continuing our look at sword and buckler, and as I promised this week it's going to be a bit beyond me just swinging a sword around, and we're going to start looking at how we're actually going to use this in play. Now a lot of this involves circular motion, so I'm going to try and hopefully put this in a way where it all gets captured by film, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So to start with, I'm going to get Ian here. I'm going to put you slightly 45-degree angle, and we're going to try and see if that puts me on the camera. So, if I'm going to take a fairly standard stance that I would use a lot in sort of buckler, my buckler will be out in front of me, I'm going to be in Corolonga Stretta, my sword is going to be out behind me. Now, if Ian was to come in and pick a line of attack, he's likely to pick this side of my head, just because it is the side that is not guarded by anything. Yeah? Now, obviously, I have the option that as he comes to do that, I could bring my sword across to clear. Yeah, so I'm not unguarded just because my sword is back, but it's not really how I'm planning to deal with this. So instead what's going to happen is, as that cut comes in, I'm going to meet it with the buckler. But importantly, I'm not going to move my hand over. Because if I move my hand over, I just expose the outside of my arm for Ian to catch there instead. So he just slightly disengage over the top of the shield, and I'm losing my arm because I've moved my arm across. So instead what happens is, as he does, I pivot on my front foot and move my back foot round to bring the shield into connection, but I'm still covered behind the shield. Yeah? And that keeps me safe. So, attack comes in, a power. You're right, that worked out. And then this one is back here, can then come in for a nice big reply into my opponent. Now, that's very big movements. In reality, I'm going to move a little bit less because I only need to move from one shoulder to the other to be fully covered. So what's going to happen is the attack comes in, and I want to do those simultaneously. So I'm not dying, I'm catching the buckler, and I'm hitting my opponent here. Now, equally, he might decide that that just looks too convenient for me to come on that side, so he might try to sneak a shot down at my offside hip, trying to sneak underneath the buckler into this kind of attack here. Yeah? Now what I'm going to have to do here is I am going to have to move the buckler, because I don't want to just drop down here, because all I'm then doing is offering up my head. So what I am going to do is I'll drop the buckler and come in with that cut at the same time. And to drop the buckler, I'm twisting my hand. I'll do it this way so hopefully you can see what I'm doing, so I'm coming a bit closer. When I'm dropping the buckler, I'm turning my hand through 180 degrees so that it goes down. So if I imagine kind of like that. And that keeps me relatively well covered, because even if he then goes low and it was a feign, so if he came in for a feign low and then went high, I've got time to roll back up to catch that cut. And equally then, of course, as soon as that's happening, the cut comes in, boom, I get my response there, uno tempo. At the same time, I've got two weapons, so I want to defend with the shield, because it's a shield, and attack with the sword. So that would be the plan. Now, of course, these two other places we haven't talked about in attacking. One might be that he sees my sword all the way back here and reckons by throwing it into this hip, he's going to gam things up a bit, because my shield's up here, and actually trying to get my sword round to deal with that could be a problem. In which case, I'm going to do the two, as with dagger and such, like I'm going to do the two things together. So as that comes in, I'm going to roll my hand down and then pivot, so that I'm going to catch that on the back. Now, this leads a problem, because trying to then cut up here, or even over here, leaves my hands really crossed up. And if you are a, how should we put it, husky gentleman like me, you start to bind up a bit around the torso area. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that that is going to become completely bound. I'm going to move across here, and I'm going to cut over the top, wrist to wrist. Boom. And deliver my strike here, keeping my hands nice and close together. So when that attack comes in, there's my parry, I'm nice and safe, and I've got my cut to my opponent. So that covers outside two lines, inside one line. There is no point doing the high outside line. Do you want to come in for this shoulder? Then you're an idiot. I'm already covered on that, so it's not a problem. I know you wouldn't, you're better than that. So, The other option, of course, is that I might be here and you might go, well, I'm just going to split him down the middle then. That shot there, it seems like I'm not well guarded for. Now, in fairness, the buckler's not great for this, on the basis that as that attack comes down, if I just use the buckler, it's going to bounce, and I don't really know where it's going to bounce. But anything, it's still got plenty of downwards momentum. It's maybe going to take the sting out of the cut, but I'm still going to get cut. So I'm going to have to adopt a different position. So, as usual, we've got 5 positions. So we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4. We've said 5 doesn't really work, but there's always that floating one, like guarded the tester, used for guarding the head. So we looked at how that works in the buckler. So as that cut comes in, I'm going to bring my sword up and catch between the sword and the buckler. Yeah? It takes away that immediate advantage of being able to attack at the same time, but I ain't dead. So we're going to call that a win. And then from there, I've got options of what I want to do. I can throw the sword off and come through after a beat. Equally, if the attack's coming in, then I can take this here and look to step under and control with the shield, come in with a point attack over the top. There's multiple options I've got. But the point of this video is how not to die. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't use 5, but we do use our guided tester. And that's, yeah, those are going to be our main defences, and we're going to do that along with big sweeping attacks. And it's going to depend where my guard is. So all of that I was looking at Conalonga Stretta. If I'm Conalonga Alta, they're going to be slightly different. So if Ian picks a line of attack, I don't know where he's going to come. He's coming up here. I'm going to drop and turn. Obviously this is going to have that dropping effect, wrists coming together. And equally, I could be in guarded the Spalla. Let's see where Ian goes this time. He's going down here, so I'm going to block. Nice and easy attack coming across there. So that kind of covers this side. Now, the interesting ones are where I end up in something like Sotobrachio. Because from here, when the attack comes in, now I assume he's not going to attack into the sword, or he's obviously attacking this side. When I take this can become a very clunky attack, because as you can see, I'm not really directly in range for anything. And this is where turning my hand over comes in again. So this time I'm going to turn my hand over. I'm still protected, but now I have the space to actually land that along the top of the arm, giving me an attack at the same time. And equally, if I was in Suprabrachio, attack coming in here, boom, that one's nice and easy, I've got a clean attack. So I'm just looking to throw in those attacks and take the defense with the shield. And that's really the basics of buckling. You need to practice that over and over until you can reliably find their sword with the buckler. And that's not difficult, because we spent a lifetime knowing in three-dimensional space where our hand is. We know where the buckler is that's attached to our hand. So it's actually becomes, you find it's very easy to put your hand in the right place, because you're very good at knowing where your buckler is. And then at the same time, getting those sweeping cuts coming in to riposte, as I said, tempo at the same time. So next week we're going to take a look at how we can use these instead of with the wide guards, with the narrow guards. We're going to look at doing some points, some thrusting work, and tie up a couple of other loose ends there next week. So hopefully by the end of next week you'll have the core basics, and that gives us a couple of weeks at the end to look at some tactics and things that you might find useful. So hopefully you found this a useful session. This is probably one you're going to have to go over several times to get the hang of it, but once you have, you're well on your way to becoming a bucklerist? A buccaleer. I like buccaleer. We're going with buccaleer. So, so until then, my fellow buccaleers, I shall see you next week. Sometimes we feel... Whoa, come back. Apparently, I have told a slight fib in that I promised that I was going to get hit in the head in the last video and in the video before, and a few people have pointed out to me that I have not been hit in the head. So we're going to take a moment out so that I can be hit in the head by Ian, and then people can stop complaining. So, mask is on, sword is out. Ian, do your worst. Oh!
So you get a line.